Is up, Hawk fans? I have some big news for you guys tonight. Iowa basketball receives a commitment from shooting guard, long range sniper Brendan Hausen. This is a big get. This is probably the biggest get outside of Sturts, but I would even say that it probably is the biggest get for Iowa in the Ben McCollum era when you take into consideration that there was no University of Iowa ties for this player. Either through Ben McCollum or being Iowa related, such for example, Cooper Koch. So this definitely is a big get. He has a nice rating. He's played at the Power 4 level. He can obviously play at the Power 4 level. He played at Villanova, which traditionally is not Power 4, but they are a big boy school, Villanova. And they compete in the upper echelon of college basketball. Again, I wouldn't consider it Power 4, but still, they have taken a few steps back in recent years, but still, Villanova is Villanova. And then he transferred to Kansas State last year, which I will admit, as someone who's a bit of a traditionalist, I don't love that he's bounced to his third team, and it has nothing to do with Brendan. And there's gonna be some of you guys who hate that I'm saying this because it's like, it's hard enough as is for Iowa to get basketball players, let alone when content creators say that they don't like how they got to the University of Iowa. I get it, but still, I want to be completely honest with you guys. That's my biggest thing. I don't love what this represents, playing for three different teams in your career, but still, it is what it is. Two things can be true at once. I can say I don't love it, while also simultaneously acknowledge that it is the truth nowadays, and simply exude the benefits and take in the benefits of this guy's transfer to the University of Iowa. But nonetheless, he transferred to Kansas State, where he averaged 11 points a game last year. Not only does he clearly have the ability to play at the Power 4 level, but he also has had the ability to average double digits at the Power 4 level. So what does this mean for the University of Iowa? Well, they are continuing to round out their roster. And I think at this point, they are assembling a roster that, like me just judging it right now, I can say is worthy of competing in the Big Ten. Yes, there's still some question marks revolving around the Drake players and whether they're going to be able to take the steps necessary forward in order to consistently compete at the Big Ten level. I think a reasonable expectation for the Drake guys outside of Sturts, who clearly is a highly talented guy, is, hopefully you guys heard that. I just got a low battery thing on my phone. I think a reasonable expectation is to expect at least half of the Drake guys outside of Sturts to be able to take that consistent step forward at the Big Ten level for next year. I'm not saying, endlessly, year 2, year 3. It's hard to gauge all of that. But I'm saying year 1 in the Big Ten, I think Banks is pretty much a guarantee. I think he's going to be able to compete at the Big Ten level. I'm getting some of the commitments up here. I think Cam Manyawu is going to be able to compete. Quite frankly, I think all of them are going to be able to compete. But if you were to ask me to nail down 100% who's going to be able to compete, I would say the two big guys. I think Cale Combs and Isaiah Howard are more developmental pieces that are going to add depth. And so that's another thing. What does this mean? Well, Iowa has their starting shooting guard. This guy is coming to Iowa to be a starter. I would be stunned if he is not. And it gives Iowa a nice little bridge, a 1-year bridge for the Cale Combs and the Isaiah Howards of the world, who could still use a smidge of development at the Big Ten level. Cale Combs is a bit of a combo guard. Same with Isaiah Howard. I'd say Cale Combs is more of a combo guard. But we're starting to have our starting lineup, guys. I mean, I can visualize it being Bennett Sturts, who's 6'4", 180 pounds, Brendan Hausen, who's 6'4", 180 pounds. You have a terrific backcourt that's going to be able to shoot the lights out. Not super athletic. You're going to have to McCollum is going to have to be creative with how he infuses lineups to get more defense out there and stuff like that. But again, what I am looking for in year one is effort. From top to bottom, a desire to play defense. And if I see that, regardless of the athleticism, I will be able to live with it. So even if the athleticism is not there, although Bennett Sturts is way more athletic than people give him credit for, even if it's not the most athletic backcourt, you're still going to be able to mix and match and get some of that athleticism in there when you need it, and get more defensive minded. But again, as long as these two guys consistently bring it and are working on the defensive end, I can live with it. So you have Bennett Sturts, Brendan Hausen, and then for those two guys, you have Isaiah Howard and Cale Combs behind them working through it. And then, possibly Iowa is able to land the 4-star kid out of Washington, D.C., who would add a nice little wild card, but I'm just saying that as like a what if type situation. We'll see what happens with that. And then you have Cooper Koch, who will likely start at the 3 for Iowa, maybe the 4, depending on kind of what McCollum is looking for in his starting lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if he is a 4. I don't think he will be. I think he's more of a traditional big 3 in college. And his game does not remind me of a small ball 4. That's more Tavion Banks. And I think Tavion Banks will likely be the 4 at 6'7". Now, we'll see if Iowa is able to land a bigger guy in the portal that's like 6'9", 6'10". But even if you have Tavion Banks and Koch, I think that's some decent size there, which leaves the last thing, which is Iowa needs to land a big man. That is the biggest thing left on their roster, is landing a big guy. And, Trevin Jarrett, who knows? Maybe he'll be ready year one to get some meaningful minutes. But I don't think, regardless, he will be ready for the perils of the Big Ten to start. I'd be super surprised if that was the case. So yeah, I mean, that is what this means, guys. The roster is coming into form, and it really is starting to take shape. As far as his talent, this guy is a 3-point specialist. A majority of his shots come from the 3-point line. He averaged 10.9 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 0.8 assists. He's not a combo guard. He is a sniper from three. If you look at his game log and you look at his overall field goals compared to how many three-point shots he took, almost every single game, at least half of his shots, if not more, are all from three. And the highlight video that I saw, the two highlight videos that I saw, 95+% of his shots were three-point shots, which is fine, you know. And who knows, maybe he'll develop into more of a well-rounded scorer in his final year. But you know, that's just what I saw. Like, for example, so let's go about this. So against Baylor, he was 1 for 5 from the floor, 1 for 5 from three. Against Arizona State, 4 from 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from three. So half of his shots. Against Iowa State, 1 for 7 from the floor, 1 for 5 from three. So only 2 shots were non-3-point shots. Against Cincinnati, 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 5 from three. So only 1 shot. Colorado, he was 4 of 10 from the field, 3 of 5 from three. So he's a bit streaky, which is to be expected, the type of player he is. And that's why it's good that Iowa has depth behind him. Lastly, you know, man, it would be awesome if Iowa was able to get Joshua Lewis, if they were able to get him back into the fold. I think he would add a nice little intangible piece. But Nick Lewis on 3 has him favored to still land at Xavier. You know, maybe they haven't updated his recent visit to Iowa. I don't see on 3 having his... I don't see on 3 having his visit to Iowa. In fact, they don't. And by the way, on 3 has him graded as a 95. Brendan Hausen and 247 Sports has him graded as a 93. So this is a really big get, guys. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. This is a really big get. Iowa, this guy would immediately be the top transfer portal player that Fran McCaffrey landed in his career at Iowa. Probably next to the lefty that he was able to land. And Cricky, of course. It's sometimes it's hard to remember all these guys' names. So Nick Lewis, there's 2 predictions on him. Let's see if they're recent. They are not. So, and the official visit was April 11th for Iowa. So, we'll see what happens with that. That would be a huge get. But this is great news, guys. Already making some hay out there. Making some noise. This is a good example of Ben McCullum. This is a good example of the Iowa collective and Iowa collectively moving forward in a more positive, constructive manner in an effort to compete in the Big Ten at a high level. I mean, and that's the biggest thing that we all wanted to see. We want to have a roster that we can be excited about and have legit players that, you know, we're ready to go out and see and support and have fun watching. So, and I think that this is a step in the right direction. Make no mistake, just to emphatically say this, because my attention has somewhat been diverted here, looking up some of the stuff I've been looking up. It's so funny, like, anytime I'm like searching up something, I can never find it like as quickly as I want to find it. It always takes way longer, but I digress. like I said, this would, in the Fran McCaffrey era, this would have been the biggest pickup in the Fran McCaffrey era from the transfer portal. Cricky was up there. Philip Rabracha was a good pickup. It ended up being a really good get. But from a pure rating standpoint, this would be the biggest pickup. And, yes, he only has a year of eligibility left, but you know what? It works for both parties. And I'll also say this. Nowadays, you're basically on one-off contracts with all players anyways. I mean, that's just the way it is nowadays. So this is a huge step. When I saw this news, it was massive. I don't think it was super expected. And this really is a positive step in the right direction. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. More to come on this. Like, comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. In fact, our feelings, because your feelings just matter. Love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.